A pregnant woman showed up at my door, claiming my husband was the father. Don't forget to subscribe, it's free and helps this channel grow faster so we can keep posting more emotional Reddit stories for you. I remember standing there, frozen, holding the door handle like my life depended on it. The woman was heavily pregnant, maybe 7 or 8 months along. Her face looked tired, and her voice shook as she said, "I need to speak to David. He's the father of my child. My name is Clara, and I've been married to David for 5 years. In all those years, we hadn't been blessed with a child. It wasn't for lack of trying. I had done every test, taken every herbal mixture my mother-in-law brought, and prayed countless nights. Still, nothing happened. David had always been kind about it. He would hold my hand and say, "It's okay, Clara. It will happen when it's time." But his mother, Mrs. Cole, made my life miserable. She never missed a chance to remind me that I had failed to give her a grandchild. So when that pregnant woman appeared at my door that morning, it felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. I managed to ask, "Who are you?" "My name is Rose," she said, rubbing her belly. "Your husband knows me. I've been trying to reach him." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it sounded too ridiculous to be real. My husband? The man who told me he loved me every night? The man who swore I was the only woman in his life? Before I could say anything, David's car pulled into the driveway. Rose stepped aside as he came toward the house. The moment he saw her, his face changed. He froze, his eyes darting between us like someone caught between fire and water. "David," I said quietly, "do you know her?" He stuttered, "Clara. I can explain." "Explain what?" That he had a woman outside? That the baby she carried was his? My heart pounded in my chest as tears burned behind my eyes. Just then, Mrs. Cole walked in. She took one look at the woman and gasped dramatically, "Is this the woman carrying my grandchild?" I turned to her, shocked. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, please," she snapped. "Don't act innocent. Everyone knows when a woman can't give her husband a child, another woman will." Rose looked uncomfortable, but she didn't deny it. My mother-in-law rushed to her side, guiding her into the house like a queen. "Come in, my dear," she said. "Don't stand out there in the sun. You need to rest. You're carrying my blood." I just stood there, trembling. My husband tried to speak, but his mother silenced him with a glare. "I warned you, David," she said. "A man cannot live on love alone. He needs a family, children. Now that God has given you one, don't let this woman," she pointed at me, "stand in your way." That broke me. I felt small, useless, like a stranger in my own home. I walked away without saying a word. In the bedroom, I collapsed on the floor, sobbing. I could hear them talking and laughing downstairs. Rose's voice. My mother-in-law's laughter. My husband's silence. For 5 years, I had prayed for a baby. For 5 years, I had endured my mother-in-law's insults. And now, I was being replaced by a stranger carrying a child that might not even be my husband's. That night, I didn't eat. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. When David came in, he tried to touch me, but I turned away. "Clara, please," he said softly. "It's not what you think." I whispered, "Then tell me what it is." He sighed, sat on the edge of the bed, and said, "I don't even know how she found me. I knew her briefly before we got married, but we never." He stopped talking. I didn't know whether to believe him or not. All I knew was that something had broken inside me. That night, I made a promise to myself. If I found out he had betrayed me, I'd make him choose, me or that pregnant lady. And I wouldn't stay to watch him hesitate. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Rose standing in my living room, holding her belly like she owned the place. And my mother-in-law's words kept echoing in my head, "A man cannot live on love alone." By morning, I was a shadow of myself. I didn't cook breakfast. I didn't even bother to greet anyone. When I came downstairs, Rose was sitting at the dining table, eating the breakfast I used to make for my husband. My mother-in-law was beside her, smiling proudly like she had found gold. "Good morning," I said quietly. Mrs. Cole turned to me with a smirk. "Good morning, barren woman," she said. "I hope you slept well, since you had nothing to worry about. Some of us have babies to take care of." My heart tightened. I looked at David, hoping he'd say something. He didn't. He just sat there, his eyes fixed on his food. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask him why he was letting his mother humiliate me like that. But instead, I walked away and locked myself in the bedroom. For 2 days, I stayed in there. I barely ate. David would knock and say, "Clara, please talk to me," but I couldn't. I didn't trust myself not to explode. On the third day, Mrs. Cole banged on my door. "Come out," she shouted. "We're going to the hospital. The doctor says Rose's baby is due soon. You can stay home and pack your things before we come back. This house needs peace, not bitterness." I opened the door slowly. "You want me to leave my husband's house?" I asked quietly. She folded her arms. "Yes. You've had 5 years. What else do you want? My son deserves happiness." I stared at her, speechless. I could feel my throat closing up. Before I could reply, she walked off, calling Rose. "Let's go, my dear. Don't mind her. God has favored you." I sat on the edge of the bed and cried until my chest hurt. Everything I had worked for, my marriage, my home, my peace, was slipping away. That evening, I called my friend Amanda. She was the only person who ever listened without judging me. When she heard everything, she gasped. "Clara, you can't just leave," she said. "If that woman is truly pregnant for David, let's see proof first. Don't let them chase you away." "But Amanda," I whispered, "he's not even defending me." "Maybe he knows it's his baby." "Then make him say it," she said firmly. "Don't suffer in silence. Face him." Her words gave me a little strength. That night, when David returned, I waited in the living room. "David," I said, my voice shaking, "I need to know the truth. Is that baby yours?" He rubbed his face and looked away. "Clara, I don't know. Rose said she's pregnant for me, but I swear I didn't do anything with her after we got married." "I'm confused." "Confused?" I snapped. "A woman doesn't get pregnant by confusion. You either did it or you didn't." He looked hurt. "Clara, please don't talk like that. I'm trying to fix this." "Fix it how?" I said. "By letting her live here while your mother insults me? By pretending nothing's wrong." He didn't answer. That silence was my answer. I stood up, my legs shaking. "I can't live like this, David. You need to make a choice. Me or that pregnant woman. I won't stay here and die slowly while you play the victim." He looked at me, his eyes wet. "Clara, don't do this." But I had already made up my mind. I packed a small bag that night and left the house. I went to Amanda's place. She opened the door, hugged me tight, and said, "You did the right thing." Still, as I lay on her couch that night, I couldn't help crying. I didn't want to lose my husband. I didn't want to end my marriage. But I also couldn't stay where I wasn't respected. If the baby was truly his, then maybe I'd have to let him go. But if it wasn't, then maybe there was still hope. I didn't know which one would hurt more. Just when I thought my marriage was over, the truth came out in a way I never expected. I had been staying with Amanda for 3 weeks. Every day felt the same: wake up, cry a little, pretend to be fine, and scroll through my phone, waiting for a message from David that never came. One evening, Amanda handed me her phone. "Clara, look," she said. It was a post on Facebook, a picture of Rose holding a newborn baby. The caption read, "Welcome, my little prince." I stared at the photo, my heart heavy. So it was true. She had given birth. I felt like my world had ended. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was David. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity won. "Clara," he said softly, "please, can we talk?" His voice sounded tired, broken even. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him the next day at a small cafe near Amaka's house. When I saw him, he looked like he hadn't slept in days. His beard was rough and his eyes were red. "Clara," he said, taking a deep breath, "I found out something." "What?" I asked, folding my arms. "I ran a DNA test," he said quietly. "On the baby." My heart started pounding. "Why?" "Because something didn't add up," he said. "Rose kept avoiding me after giving birth. She refused to let me see the baby at first. Then one day, I managed to visit the hospital and took a piece of the baby's blanket. I sent it for a test. I could barely breathe. And?" He looked me straight in the eyes. "The baby isn't mine, Clara." The test came back negative. I froze. My chest tightened and tears filled my eyes. What did you just say? She lied, he said, shaking his head. She made everything up because the real father abandoned her. She just wanted someone to take responsibility. For a long moment, I didn't say a word. My mind was racing. All the humiliation, the tears, the pain, it was all for nothing. What about your mother? I finally asked. She knows, he said. When I told her, she broke down. She said she's ashamed of how she treated you. She wants to apologize. I looked away, blinking back tears. Do you know what I went through, David? Do you know what it felt like to be called barren in front of a stranger? He nodded, tears running down his face. I know. And I hate myself for letting that happen. Please, Clara, come home. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to run into his arms and forget everything. But the pain was still too raw. I need time, I whispered. He nodded slowly. Take all the time you need. I'll wait. That night, I sat awake in Amanda's living room, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in weeks, my heart felt lighter. Maybe God wasn't punishing me. Maybe this was just the storm before peace. Rose disappeared after that. No one knew where she went. But I didn't care. The truth was finally out. Now the only question left was whether my heart was ready to forgive. A year later, something happened that made all the pain worth it. After the truth came out about Rose, life slowly started to settle again. But it took time for my heart to heal. I didn't move back home immediately. I wanted to see if David's remorse was real or just temporary guilt. To my surprise, he didn't pressure me. Every weekend, he came to Amanda's house with groceries, quietly leaving them by the door if I refused to see him. He'd text me simple messages like, "Hope you're eating well," or "Still praying for you." He never complained or blamed me for leaving. One Sunday afternoon, he came to visit with his mother. When I saw Mrs. Cole, my stomach tightened. She looked nothing like the proud, harsh woman I used to know. She was thinner, her eyes red like she'd been crying for days. "Clara," she said softly, "I came to ask for forgiveness. I treated you badly. I was desperate for a grandchild, and I took it out on you. I'm so sorry, my daughter." I stood there quietly. The bitterness I carried for months felt heavy in my chest. But seeing her humble like that made me tear up. I nodded slowly. "I forgive you, Mama," I said. She broke down crying and hugged me. That day, I decided to give David and our marriage another chance. We went for counseling and started rebuilding what we'd lost: trust, friendship, peace. It wasn't easy. Some days we argued, some days we cried together. But every time, we chose to try again. Then one morning, something unexpected happened. I had been feeling weak and nauseous for days. I thought it was stress or malaria. But Amanda insisted, "Clara, go for a test." I laughed it off until I couldn't ignore it anymore. I went to a small clinic near our house. When the nurse came back with the result, she smiled and said, "Congratulations, ma'am. You're pregnant." I froze. "What did you say?" "You're pregnant," she repeated, laughing. "You're going to be a mother." I burst into tears right there in the clinic. I couldn't believe it. After 5 years of waiting, after everything I'd been called, it was finally happening. When I told David, he couldn't speak for almost a minute. He just kept staring at me, his eyes filling with tears. Then he dropped to his knees, hugging me tightly. "Thank you, Jesus," he whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on us." 9 months later, we welcomed a healthy baby boy, Ethan. The whole family cried tears of joy. Even Mrs. Cole couldn't stop carrying him around the house, calling him my little miracle. One evening, as I watched David rocking our baby to sleep, I thought about how far we'd come. From tears, betrayal, and shame, to forgiveness, peace, and laughter. Life hadn't given me what I wanted when I wanted it, but it gave me what I needed when the time was right. Sometimes, pain clears the path for miracles. And as I looked at my husband and our son, I whispered to myself, it was worth it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more emotional true stories every week.